Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We have once again made it to another episode of Pickup Lines. It is the talk show in a car. And as I tell Judge Sakai, if the car moves, something's wrong. So Get comfortable, sir. We're not going anywhere here.
All right, I hope not.
But the Bexar County Judge Sakai, so nice to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ernie.
I know you're a very, very busy man. You get pulled in a million, billion different directions. But I thought today we could kind of reflect on some of the events of today, but also look back on what I consider a pretty remarkable story. Of an example of another person who has risen to great heights here in San Antonio, but you were not born here in San Antonio.
Correct. I'm from South Texas, Rio Grande Valley, McAllen, Texas.
Okay, very good. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Your parents are from the West Coast, correct?
Okay. The grandparents, both sets of grandparents, mother and father grandparents, came from Japan.
Of course.
Immigrated nearly 100 years ago.
Right.
And my father's family settled in the Imperial Valley of Southern California, and my mother's family settled in actually South Texas. So my maternal grandfather was one of the original farmers down in the Rio Grande Valley.
Goodness gracious. And your father is Pete as well?
That's correct.
So you're Junior?
No, Pete was really a given name.
Okay.
He had a Japanese name, but of course he was a teenager back when he was growing up, and that's obviously my father's family was caught up in the internment camp and incarcerated during that time.
Which is unbelievable. I mean, I've heard stories and stuff over the years, and I just wonder how much you and he talked about that over the years and how he came out of that. And I know that has a lot to do with why you got into law and justice and those kinds of things. But what do you know about his time there in those camps?
Well, that was one story that my dad made sure I knew.
He wanted you to know.
He wanted me to know. Now, I'm a baby boomer. And so back in the 70s, at that time, was a lot of controversy and turmoil in our world, Vietnam War.
Yeah.
And so he and I didn't agree on that. And I, at that time, probably had a lot longer hair than I do now.
Really?
Yeah, my dad had a crew cut and was pretty much very conservative. But the issue of the internment camp and what he went through as a teenager was something that really embedded me about the rule of law and the Constitution. Because as I always say, even today, I give great dignity and respect to my grandparents who came from Japan,
right? Who
came here to establish their families, to seek their fame and fortune, so to speak.
So for people who don't know what your dad went to, because that was an executive order, right? 9066. So in the most basic layman terms, how do you explain what the internment camps were and why your dad had to be there and how he ultimately left?
In a simple term, my dad and his family were incarcerated because they were Japanese American.
That's it.
And that we were at war with Japan during World War II. And so it was the hysteria and the fear that Japanese Americans faced at that time. And it was a gross violation, which was later recognized and reversed, but it took, I think in 1988, when President Ronald Reagan signed an apology and reparation to the Japanese Americans at that time.
So your dad received reparations?
He had passed away by that time.
I see. Okay.
But it was something I knew, and as a judge, lawyer, a person who followed the rule of law and the constitutions of our United States and state of Texas, I was extremely proud to see our country rectify that. But unfortunately, Ernie, we're living in some tough times that are repeating themselves in regard to how we treat our immigrant families.
No, I know, and that's a whole other. I mean, we could do an hour on just that. But your dad ultimately got out, or the family made their way to South Texas.
Correct.
Why South Texas, and what are your earliest memories of growing up in childhood there?
Well, first, it was a farming community. Okay. So my mother's family actually got down there in the early 1900s and one of the first farmers in the Rio Grande Valley. My father, obviously, being in the internment camp, they came after World War II. My dad actually had to enlist in the U.S. Army to get out of the internment camp.
That's crazy. That just sounds crazy to me.
He served his country, and he served it honorably. And so, the Japanese Americans went through a lot of trauma in order to prove themselves as Americans. And that was, again, a gross violation of their constitutional rights.
So coming out of the war, your family, like you said, ends up in South Texas. I'm just thinking of a lot of manual labor, hard work.
Hard work. I was a farm laborer under my dad, and he made sure I got up at the break of dawn and worked oftentimes till the sun went down. And I give great credence to people who do farm labor. They are the essence of our community to bring those foods and vegetables and fruits to our table and to feed us. And so, again, we could go into the current issues,
Yeah.
but that gets too far.
So what time are you waking up in the morning? You're going out into fields and picking crops, or what does that look like? What are you doing?
Well, the worst job was hoeing.
It's backbreaking work.
Oh, and the rows were like, I thought, miles long. Now, obviously,
Probably felt like it
It
worked.
felt, and it was back-breaking work. So that's the reason why I have great empathy
Right.
and respect for farm workers. They do work that nobody else wants to do.
Right. And you're not getting rich off of it by any means.
Oh, I didn't get rich. I can promise you that.
Yeah, yeah. But I know you're going to school and trying to get an education at the same time.
Correct. So yeah, as growing up, I worked at packing sheds and agricultural work, and I went to school, and here I am now, the county judge of Bexar County.
Well, and we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there. We still have a little.
All
So you went to high school in the Valley?
McAllen High School, McAllen Bulldogs.
You were a football player.
Yes, I was.
What position did you play?
Center. O-line.
And did all of that hoeing and that manual labor make you a better football player in any way, shape, or form?
It did. It taught me, and I value the fact that hard work was always a value that my family, my father made sure we understood. We, in order to be successful, always have to work hard. We have to live in an honest and with integrity, and we also have to, above all, be humble and humility.
So at that time, you're playing football in high school. You're mindful of what your dad went through in the camps, so that had already made an impression on you. But you're a football player. At that time, had you already known that you were going to go pursue law, or could you have played college football and beyond, or done something else? No. I wasn't a starter.
Okay. But at the same time, yes, it was a situation where if you had asked me then, or along my path, would I envision being a lawyer, a judge, a county judge? No.
Right.
I had no idea. I was the oldest in my family. I was the first one to get out and get to college.
Yeah.
And one thing my parents really practiced and preached was education. And so for that, I value what maybe didn't appreciate it when I was a young kid that wanted to go socialize a lot.
Well, it happens.
But we ain't touching those stories today, okay?
Oh,
Ernie?
that was my next question.
No, we're not. But if you'd ask me, is there any way? I don't even think my grandparents or parents could even envision me being where I'm at now. But those are the values that they ingrained into me. And I think those are values that we need to make sure our children and my grandchildren understand. It's just doing the simple things to get where you need to go.
You are a grandfather, obviously. You're a father. Did you have siblings?
Yes, I had 2 brothers and 1 sister. I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest. And again, we're not going to incriminate the judge here, but you had fun in your youth.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Living along the border.
I can only imagine. Hey, I grew up in Victoria, not too far away.
Not too far away.
I know. Never mind. I'm going to stop
Ernie,
right
don't
there.
go there,
Stop
Ernie.
right there.
I think statute of limitations is run on a lot of things.
Yeah, that's the perfect time to take a break here. Let's take a quick little break on Pickup Lines. Bexar County Judge Peter Sakai before we get somebody in trouble.
That's right.
We'll be right back. We're back on Pickup Lines here with Judge Peter Sakai, sharing as much as we can legally without getting anybody in trouble. We talked about your dad and everything. Your mother?
Yes, my mother actually was born down there in the Rio Grande Valley. So I'm a second-generation Japanese American.
Okay.
We call that Nikkei Sansei in Japanese, but it's second-generation American born. And so that's where I'm at.
Okay. And both your parents have since passed?
Yes, both parents have passed.
Yeah. But did they live long enough to see you, pursue law, graduate college, ultimately?
My father did not. Unfortunately, he died at a young age of 57 years of age.
Oh, goodness, that is young.
But my mother lived to the ripe age into her late 80s and was one of my most active and aggressive campaign workers on the campaign trail. So she is sorely missed.
God, moms tend to do that, don't they?
Mom was just the heart and soul of our family.
And your wife essentially kind of took that
vein
over.
Rachel Sakai has just picked it up. One of the things that, here's an interesting story.
Yes.
My grandparents were trilingual. They primarily spoke Japanese.
Okay.
They spoke fluent Spanish, and they were very limited in English. And so
Wow.
when I talked to my grandparents, it had to be just broken Japanese, English, Spanish, all mixed together, or sign language of I'm hungry or I need something to drink.
Okay.
Whereas my wife, Rachel Sakai, was able to converse with my grandmother, especially my father's grandmother, who conversed in Spanish and were fluent with each other. And my paternal grandmother taught Rachel how to make sushi. And
Oh,
Rachel
I
is a
love this.
great, great cook.
I do love sushi, by the way. So you speak fluent like Japanese and Spanish?
No, I speak very limited Japanese. I know the bad words, especially the bad words that they called me when I was a kid.
Wait a minute.
Yes, I'm not going there either.
No, I'm not going to ask
All
you.
right.
I'm not going to ask
And then my Spanish do not claim to be fluent because it's the border Spanish.
Okay.
You know, there was that Spanglish.
Spanglish, yeah.
You know,
that's
half
like
English.
a mashup.
Yeah, there you
yeah.
go. And so, and then that's how I was indoctrinated and part of the Hispanic culture down in
Cerveza, por favor.
Sí, parque tu carro para allá.
El baño.
Yes.
¿Dónde está el baño? Where's
Yes,
the bathroom?
That's right.
Just enough to get you by when you
That's
occasionally
exactly right.
went across the border.
Because my wife's family comes from the capital, de Mexico, in Mexico City.
Okay.
So she was very fluent and spoke correct
I love
Spanish.
I love it. Is it true you met your wife at Oyster Bake?
Yes, that's the story.
Fiesta Oyster Bake.
You've been doing your homework, Ernie.
Yes, sir. I try.
Yes, sir.
1980, I understand.
Mhm.
So I'm just imagining a slightly younger Peter Sakai. You were not a judge yet, were you?
That's correct. I was
So you're not a judge yet.
Assistant DA with my first job in Bexar County.
So you're at St. Mary's University?
No, I was at UT Law
I'm
School.
talking about it for Oyster Bake.
Oyster Bake, St. Mary's.
So you're walking around at St. Mary's with a I don't know, chicken on a stick or whatever you had back then?
I don't recall. It was
Okay.
I think some oysters.
Okay.
I think
Oh,
so.
well, hello. That's Oyster Bake. Okay.
yeah.
And then what happens?
Well, it wasn't a date. It was actually a mutual friend who my wife thought was my girlfriend, but she was just setting up.
Okay.
And so we went as a threesome. And so my friend, who my wife thought was my girlfriend, takes off and she hooks up with whoever. And so I'm left with Rachel. And so we really didn't know each other. And
Right.
so in having conversation at Oyster Bake, I said, "Can I get you a beer?" And she goes, "No, I don't drink beer."
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Can I get you some oysters? I only like oysters Rockefeller,
Wow.
which I have no clue what that was. I had not experienced
She's got good taste.
I hadn't experienced fine dining at that stage of life. And so it just kind of went downhill to the point where I was just like, oh, she kept calling me Michael. She just, for whatever reason, Michael. And I go, no, my name is Peter.
Okay.
And so the night went downhill rather fast. And it
Wow.
was like the sooner I could get her home,
Mhm.
the better I was going to be.
Okay.
It took, as you know, that's during Fiesta.
Sure.
So the next gang activity for the group was to go to Naosa.
Yes,
And so
sir.
by this time, though, I think she had a clear picture of the third person in
Right.
that group.
She was not your girlfriend.
She's not my girlfriend.
Okay.
She took off with her boyfriends or the group she
Right.
wanted to. And then we started asking questions about our
Okay.
background. And so that was the start. That's the official start of perhaps the romance, so to speak.
That's 45 years ago.
That is a lot.
Can you believe that?
That's right. We've been married 43 years.
So it worked out. That's the moral of the story. It
That
worked
is
out.
exactly it.
And she's an educator, right? Or
She was an educator, starting as a teacher, administrator, 32 years in Harlandale Independent
Yeah.
School District, 3 years at Palo Alto College, and then 10 years at Providence Catholic High School, down the street.
And your number one campaign manager, supporter when you're running for campaigns.
Ain't nobody better.
That's right. Amen to that. That's pretty. My earliest memories of you when I got into the news business and stuff, kind of at the turn of the century, if you will. You were in the children's court,
Correct.
and I just remember because we had to report on some of the terrible things that were
Yes.
happening. Some good, but
Yeah.
some very unpleasant things that you saw in
Yes.
your court. And I wonder, would you have been content doing that the rest of your career, or what was it about the young people that court? I had Cruz Shaw here not too long ago, Judge Shaw, and we talked about similar things that you just kind of gravitated toward the kids and juvenile courts.
Well, it started when I was an assistant DA, started the district attorney's office. I started in the juvenile section, got elevated as the youngest section chief in the DA's office in charge of juvenile prosecution and child abuse and neglect.
Right.
So I was on the prosecution side, went into private practice, and signed up to represent children and families in our children's court.
Right.
And then I was picked up by unanimous support of the district court judges, civil district court judges, to be the first associate judge of children's court and those stores you covered. And then my administrative judge, Judge John Specia, retired,
Right.
and I took his spot, and I served for our county as the district court judge for 26 years. And so I had come to the point of life where I did not no longer want to do that, and then the opportunity to run for county judge came up, and
It did.
here I am, your county judge.
And is it true? I think I read somewhere where you secured, was it the Democratic nomination for that judgeship in 2022 was the same day as the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde?
Yes, that was a devastating day, although an exciting day for me. But
So bittersweet.
I remember our campaign victory party. I basically asked everybody to pray for those victims.
Yeah.
To please let's not party because it's not a night to celebrate.
Right.
And so I asked that we just say thank God for the opportunity he gave me to. I represented the Democratic Party, ultimately run against Trish DeBerry.
Sure.
And so we just called it a night, and that night still resonates in my head, Ernie, in regards to the devastation to those children and families, especially for where I've come from.
Yeah.
I ran to protect children. I ran to empower families. I ran to improve the system. I think I did a heck of a job as a district court judge, and that's my North Star as a county judge. I continue to focus in on those issues that do those things.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Well, that takes us right into his current role, which we'll get to coming up after a short break here on Pickup Lines. Don't go away. A few more minutes with Bexar County Judge Peter Sakai, and the title is where we land on right now. So you secure the Bexar County judgeship. You take office, was it in 2023?
Correct.
How do you describe in layman's terms what you do now as compared to what you used to do with the children or the other judicial roles that you've had?
Great question, Ernie. The role as a county judge, even though it has the title judge, is in essence the chief executive officer. I run the county along with 4 county commissioners.
Right.
So it's a body of 5, and it takes a majority of 3 to move things along on commissioner's court. And so now I'm in charge of over 5,000 employees, and I have a budget that's nearly $3 billion. And we've been fortunate that as CEO of the county, I've been able to make sure that our budget has stayed level and that we've had no property tax increase. But those are the tough decisions because we have so many programs and the support of our community, especially the nonprofit community, which I had a rally the other day. We have a tremendous responsibility as a county to protect our children and families. And those are the hard decisions I have to make every day as your county judge.
There's so many nonprofits, and we had the Big Give recently, and we were just talking about it. It's in the thousands.
It is.
I don't think people realize how many nonprofits. But you don't wear a robe.
Don't wear a robe. I don't do any judicial functions. Now, in rural counties, the county judge does a lot of judicial functions, criminal, juvenile, probate. I do nothing in regards to so I stay totally focused 8 to 5 every day to focus in on the needs of our community.
But like you said, essentially, you're the CEO of the county.
That's
correct. You wear a suit and tie or whatever, and dress like a CEO.
That's right. Well, today I was a little
Well, I mean, that's okay.
Downside for you.
I don't have a dress code, as you can see here. I'm fine.
I appreciate that.
You enjoy this work?
Yes. Now, some people have asked me, are you having fun? And I've had to kind of reflect on that. Leadership is not fun, Ernie. It's a tough world we live in now, and we have to make tough decisions. And I've got competing interests for the limited resources that we have, especially when we talk about taxpayer money. And so it is rewarding. It is what I signed up for, and what I wish to continue to do.
No, I mean, people, you bring up taxpayer money and people get their
their
ears perk up, as you might expect.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I would imagine your role has some perks. I mean, what's the coolest thing about your job?
What's the coolest thing? Is that I feel that I can help frame the issues for our county.
Okay.
So I go back to who I am. I'm a person that wants to protect children. I'm a person that wants to empower families. I'm a person that wants to improve our system. And so now I have the ability, because Bexar County,
Yeah.
its primary function is to protect its citizens. It focuses on the law enforcement, the jail,
Right.
through the sheriff and the maintenance of the jail and of the court system and
Yeah.
the programs that support the court system. And we have to focus in on the infrastructure of the roads and the flooding. That is a big issue this past year.
Well,
And
yeah.
so
I mean,
those are the
yeah.
things that I take great pride, is that we have stayed focused
Okay.
on those basic core functions of county government. County is an extension of the state of Texas through its legislature. So that we're very different
Right.
from the city of San Antonio and other
Okay. I
municipalities.
mean, you do work in concert together in some things. I know, and let's just dive right into the props A and B, because we have an election coming up in November, and there is the city component, what the city council deals with,
Right.
the county component that you
Right.
deal with. The Spurs are involved as it relates to Project Marvel and the arena downtown.
Right.
And I know a lot of your work has just been trying to sift through the misinformation and let the voters decide ultimately, but you want to put correct stuff out there.
That's right, Ernie. And you know, in regards to this referendum A and B, it's a county venue tax, a tourist tax. It is not a homeowner property tax. And so that was just some of the misinformation that I want to correct. And the law does not allow me to tell voters what to do.
Okay.
I will respect the decisions the voters will make. Come this election in November, early vote starts actually on October 20th.
Correct.
And so, and it applies to the entire county, all 26 municipalities, the unincorporated areas, and the city of San Antonio. This
like 2 million people, right?
Yeah. The referendum A and B is not Project Marvel. Project Marvel is part of project of the city of San Antonio, and they'll have to explain what that is for the community.
Right.
But this is Proposition A is support of the county facilities, Frost Bank Center, Joe Harry Freeman Coliseum, the Coliseum grounds, in order to support the San Antonio Rodeo, that they will expand to a year-round plan to create an economic generation for that facility, so that it can become no longer a asphalt, cement barns with dirt floors, but a multi-use venues, and that the Coliseum Advisory Board that oversees that, and then we have to make sure the Frost Bank Center stays viable. I cannot allow the Frost Bank Center to become the next Astrodome.
In Houston.
And the Spurs have given us an opportunity 6 years. They've said they're not leaving that, but they have indicated they will be leaving. And Proposition B is a new Spurs arena in order to make sure the Spurs don't leave town.
So I grew up in Victoria, like I said, went to the Astrodome many times. How many times have you looked at what's happening in Houston, realized what's happening with the Astrodome, and wondered what could happen here in Bexar County?
That's the reason why I want the voters to get as much information and accurate information, and to clear the record, so to speak, and I will allow the voters to make their own decision.
Do you have, even on a personal level, do you have serious concerns that the Spurs could up and leave if this does not pass?
I respect Peter John Holt's word to me that they're not leaving town, but they are a business.
Yeah.
And they have to have a business plan. They got the number one player in the world, if not the universe, Wemby.
Sure.
But they're going to need additional pieces. And they're going to have a venue that will allow them to attract. But also remember, Ernie, about the contributions the Spurs make as a major employer.
Right.
But more importantly, their philanthropic commitment to our community.
Yeah.
The Spurs Coyote, the Spurs players, the Spurs organization as a whole give back so much to this community. And so I am very concerned that if the Spurs leave, it will be a devastating consequence on our community.
I would agree with that. So I don't pretend to know all the politics.
By the way, I went to Japan, and I just came back from a Japanese development tour. And last year we brought a Japanese corporation, American Katera, that has set up corporate headquarters here, bringing in jobs.
Okay.
We got a second coming in this coming year. And I'll tell you what, talking to all the Japanese businesses, they don't know the San Antonio market, but they know about the San Antonio Spurs. And I will tell you, their favorite player is Tim Duncan and David Robinson.
Well, the Spurs have always been an international team. It's like the United Nations.
But it's part of the identity of our community.
Yeah. No, I get it. I guess lastly, if we look beyond November into 2026 and beyond, have you had a chance to think about what's on your plate or what's coming next for you?
Well, obviously, I'm up for re-election, and I've already announced that I'm running for re-election. I hope people respect that I made a commitment that we would be a back-to-basics budget process. So we didn't increase taxes. We didn't increase the budget. We had no deficits,
Yeah.
Ernie. And so I hope the public will reward me with an opportunity to serve again.
Okay, very good. Well, that's a perfect place to leave it. I know, like I said, you're super busy and you're all over the place, but you look sharp, by the way.
I appreciate that.
Does your wife style you?
Yes, she
Okay,
does.
so does mine.
That's right.
I mean, she
And
does the best
She actually told me, wear the navy. And I go, no, I want to wear my cream color. So but thank you for the compliment.
Judge, always great to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Bexar County Judge Peter Sakai, really appreciate his time and his generosity here on Pickup Lines. Like I say, you never know who's going to be in the chair here, but I'm always fascinated. The conversations and your personal story is quite touching as well. So all the best to you, sir.
Thank you, Ernie.
And no one will be incriminated on this program here.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ernie Zuniga. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.